It's just another morning with regular things to do. I won't take for granted my lucky life with you.
A vascular surgeon with real rhythm. We have Dr. Robert McLafferty with us from Oregon, where he practices vascular surgery. But word has it that he is giving up his practice to pursue a career in music, something he's always been passionate about, although he's still kind of holding on to those ties of saving life and limb. So we're going to get to his story in a moment. But first, Dr. Phillips, it's certainly been a while since you and I have connected. So I'm really looking forward to, co-hosting with you live
Yeah,
this
definitely.
week.
Definitely.
But
Thanks.
you're still on call, so you may have to go do a STEMI or save some
Yes.
piggies.
Yes, indeed. Well, we had one last night, and it always brings you back to why you do this when you're able to help
Yeah.
somebody in an acute situation where life's really kind of on the line. And I know, Rob will share some of those thoughts as well, but life is short, so it's important to pursue other hobbies and interests and things that we're good at. So I'm really looking forward to hearing the story. I do want to thank the thank you, obviously, Kym, for hosting this. And we need to talk a little bit at some point about what you and your team did for a gentleman early this morning to try to help him with some leg issues, because truly going above and beyond the call, a veteran as well. But I'd like to thank the CLI Global Society as well, and the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Foundation. We did a webinar last week, and really was sharing my thoughts about critical limb ischemia and chronic limb-threatening ischemia to the podiatrists that were on the call, and it reminded me of kind of why we all get in this business, to help people save piggies and save limbs. And it was nice to hear from the podiatrists that are interested in really helping these folks. So that was good. We had a good webinar.
That Dr. McLafferty is smiling over there because he's sitting in Key West, Florida, as we speak at an innovation in wound care conference. So
I wish I was in Key
timely.
West. Yeah, I wish I was in Key West right now, because it's snowing in Columbus, and when it snows in Columbus, that's a problem. So I hope I don't have to go in, because the roads are looking terrible.
I know, it's so gloomy here. We're really jealous, Dr. McLafferty, and he didn't even bring a margarita to share. He's sitting there with a cup of coffee. And I'm like, if I was in Key West, Florida, I'd have a little Baileys and cream in there. But by the same token, I probably would have had something chilled.
He's supposed to be learning. But I remember going to Key West one time. There are a lot of chickens and roosters and stuff roaming that area. So that was curious to me. How was your week?
Oh my gosh, it was a little bit crazy, but I do have to give props. You mentioned that call this morning with Douglas answered the phone. We have our Leg Saver hotline at 1-833 P.A.D. legs up there in the corner. And Douglas, the past 2 days, he's been heroic. He's one of our P.A.D. navigators. He's also a P.A.D. warrior. And he answered the phone yesterday morning at 4:00 in the morning, Pacific time. Or I don't even know. It might have been, Douglas is actually here. Douglas, yesterday morning, was it at 4:00 in the morning, or was it your time? This morning, I know it was
my time.
4:00 his time in the morning from someone on the East Coast, which was only 5:00. A patient in Wisconsin, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, whom we've been helping. Yeah. We helped her quit. She's down to 1 cigarette a day. She's doing great. Still has some leg pain. She's improved, but really wanted to talk to someone because, the pain wakes her up in the middle of the night, and we're working on facilitating expedited care for her. But heroically, Douglas answered the phone, talked her through it, gave her some inspiration and some hope. And it was really heroic on his part. And then this morning, a disabled veteran, bless his heart, Douglas, of course, is a certified addiction counselor. He has a lot of experience in helping people in despair. And he was able to sit there at Douglas. What time this morning, your time?
It was a little after 5, and we talked to about 7:00.
Yeah. And these patients absolutely love him. He does such a great job just providing hope and inspiration. On our hotline, we don't diagnose, we don't treat, we don't provide medical advice. We sit there and we actually listen, and we help them to find the care they need. And so Douglas was able to get all the notes that I needed, and I was able to get on the phone with him, chat with him even further, offer him some greater inspiration. And now we're connecting him with Life Aid Hope, with the CEO JW, who is actively involved in Veterans Affairs, and he's going to help him. So it's really, it's amazing. And Douglas, I just have to give you a shout out. That was above and beyond. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for all you're doing to help save life and limb and help our network.
Kudos, Douglas.
So speaking of which, as if that wasn't enough inspiration, I think before we get started and launch into the conversation with Dr. Robert McLafferty, I think we should have a moment of inspiration from Dr. John Phillips.
Dr. John Phillips, spectacular, vascular moment of inspiration.
All right, so I was flipping through the old mental Rolodex, thinking about, okay, let me try to find a famous physician who was also a musician or had a musical background. So I landed on Arthur Conan Doyle. Y'all might know that he was a Scottish physician, but an author, and he's best known for creating Sherlock Holmes. But he also played the violin, and I don't know a ton of his work, but I think he incorporated music into a lot of his work. But he's got a lot of quotes, and I've got two that I wanted to share.
Okay. So Robert, Dr. McLafferty, feel free to weigh in when he.
Yeah, let me know what you think, Rob.
Okay, go ahead.
And so the first one is, there's nothing more deceptive than an obvious fact. And so, I think a lot of times we
Nice.
look for zebras when in fact there are horses everywhere. So we can talk about that. And then the other one is, I like this one, is mediocrity knows nothing higher than itself, but talent instantly recognizes genius.
Those are good. I like that.
I'm out for now.
I like those. Yeah, I've got the Wi-Fi working and everything's together now. So I apologize for my freeze ups yesterday, but just before. So thank you.
No problem. But those quotes really resonate, don't they?
I mean, I think a lot of times when we're talking to patients, you look for, common things are common, but oftentimes we miss that. But in mediocrity, what does Oscar Wilde say about repetition or following somebody's footsteps? It's the biggest compliment the mediocre can pay to the exceptional. So nonetheless.
Well, Dr. McLafferty is far from mediocre. We're going to hear from him coming up in just a moment. We always chit chat, go back and forth. You and I catch up a little bit in the first segment of the show, which is always really fun. Glad we got to give a shout out to Douglas. Well deserved. But coming up next, you're going to have a little bit more time with Dr. McLafferty and learn about his passion for music. So stay with us right here on KDOW.
How many procedures are you willing to go through? Is it worth going through that many, or would you rather just
That's funny. Was it worth it? Oh yeah, I have my leg, man.
Amputation should absolutely, positively, 100% never be a first-line treatment.
What an incredible operation, what an incredible lab you have here. Without a doubt, we're underdiagnosing peripheral arterial disease. It has not gotten the attention that it should, because it is a killing disease, it is a disabling disease, and most importantly, it's a disease that we now have great treatments for. Okay, let's go to the next one.
They were going to amputate it, and I needed to consult with my family. Did I want it off here or here? You're just shocked. It's scary. I don't even know how to explain it. You're 42 years old.
We're waiting till people are at the end of the spectrum and almost beyond hope. There is good care available here. Closed minds are what we have to get rid of.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the show. Dr. John Phillips is actually, as we speak, on the phone with the emergency room. He is on call this weekend, so he may or may not be back. We're watching him very closely as he's sitting there on the phone trying to handle an emergency situation. So we send good thoughts and prayers off to whatever patient is involved and hoping that they're going to be okay. But meantime, we are joined by Dr. Robert McLafferty. He is from Oregon. He is a vascular surgeon, and he is going to be talking to us today about his music career. So he has spent a long time in vascular surgery, but the entire time that he has been treating patients, saving life and limb, he has also been doing his music on the side.
Eyes are closed, breathing deep, just a hint of a little grin.
He's going through school right now. He's going through the Berklee School of Music. And this is all while practicing medicine full time. Dr. McLafferty, how are you balancing, first off, being a full time vascular surgeon, but also going to school for music?
Well, it's the hardest fun I've ever had.
It's the hardest
Uh,
fun.
Yeah,
love that. Can I quote
I will
you?
tell you. Yeah, I will tell you that I just absolutely love being online with the Berklee College of Music. It's about 15 to 20 hours of work a week. I
Okay.
actually went part-time October 20th after 35 years of essentially being full-time, if you include residency and training. So I have no more call, and I'm working 3 days a week, so I can dedicate more time to music. But the first 6 years, like since my first album came out in 2019,
Oh my goodness.
yeah, so it's just been just an absolute labor of love. I just play guitar every day. I love music, and I'm happy to share how I have gone down this rabbit hole.
I
But
can't wait,
yeah,
because
yeah.
if you go back, I'm curious, I'm sure it sounds as though you probably had a passion for music from when you were very young. And then mom and dad said, there's no money in music. You need to have a title.
Yeah, well,
So bring us back
yeah,
to your
sure.
childhood.
I grew up in Maine. I'm a New
Okay.
Englander.
Yep.
I grew up in a mill town called Lewiston, Auburn, also known as LA, Twin Cities, with the Androscoggin River that goes right between it. In high school, I picked up the guitar, and I just started playing, taught myself, and started just writing songs. I don't know what, that's just something that appealed to me more than playing someone else's music. And in
Kind
high
of sounds like
school,
Taylor Swift.
yeah, but the songs weren't so good. They were
But
okay.
what made you pick up the guitar versus any other instrument? Was there
Yeah.
a moment where you were trying to impress a girl, or what was it that made you
That
pick
was
up the
definitely,
guitar?
oh, I wrote a lot of love songs in high school. I had a,
Did
you know,
you?
I had a first love in high school, so I wrote a lot of love songs. My mother played a little bit of guitar. My mother's sister
Okay.
played some guitar. So, and I think I took one of their old guitars until I finally bought one myself. In fact, I still have the original guitar that in fact, I write most of my music on the guitar that I bought in high school. Still, it's I graduated high school in 1982, so we're looking at 40 years or more from this guitar. But I simultaneously in high school wanted to be a doctor, and literally towards the end of high school, my whole focus was to be a pediatric surgeon. That's what I wanted to do with my life, is be a pediatric surgeon. And so everything I did was geared towards that. And I wrote a lot of songs in high school. I wrote a lot of songs in college while I was studying, and ultimately got into med school, went to University of Vermont. Undergrad was Boston College. And then in med school, the guitar playing started getting much less, which I have regrets about. I wish I had continued it. And then guitar playing stopped in residency. I went
Wow,
to,
because you would think that the music would be
yeah,
that balance for you. That would be
yeah,
that moment for you in your day that would allow you to find that zen, to find that balance, so that you could ultimately
yeah,
clear your mind and get back into the game again.
absolutely. I look back at that time and I wish I had kept playing. But I went to Oregon and did my residency and fellowship training in general surgery and vascular surgery from 1990 to 1998. I went there as a single guy, and when I left Oregon to start my practice, I had a wife, 2 kids, and 2 dogs. So I was in 8 years busy, not only training, but and I just really didn't pick up the guitar. And I didn't really pick up the guitar again until about, goodness gracious, 2016 or 17.
But what was it? What was
and-
that moment that made you pick it up again? Was it something, maybe a moment with your kids around the holidays, or what was the
Yeah.
catalyst?
Well, to be brutally honest, I was married for 28 years, raised a family. My kids are grown now. One's going to be a vascular surgeon. One's a dentist. And I'm not married anymore. My former wife is a wonderful person. She's a wonderful OBGYN, wonderful mother. But it was my subsequent partner, Julie, who really encouraged me to pick up the guitar again. And she loves music. And I picked up the guitar. I started playing. I found all my old notebooks from high school that I had kept. Literally, I still have them, handwritten notes from high school. And it was kind of a defining moment for me. And I started writing songs again. I started playing. And that was around 2016. And it wasn't until about 2018 that I had approached some musicians in Portland, Oregon, to see if they wanted to hear my music. And that led to recording my first album. Yeah.
Had you,
Oh.
Rob, sorry, back on the call here. Rob,
Yeah.
have you ever shown or played your music in front of, other folks, kind of wanting their opinion? I imagine that's a bit nerve-wracking
Yeah.
to some degree.
Yeah. Well,
Exposing yourself, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely vulnerabilities to showing your music. If I compare where I am now in my music to like 2018 or 19, it's a very different. I was chief of surgery at the VA at that time, and I had befriended. Well, it's really kind of a very weird story. I started doing a lot of yoga in Portland. That's Portland. It's keep it weird in Portland. And
Hey, the
you gotta
really
keep-
great health and wellness is a big deal there.
It is. It's
Yeah,
huge.
yeah. Keep it weird in Portland. So I started doing yoga, and I do it still like 2 or 3 times a week. And one of the yoga teachers was a musician, and she had a band. And one of the other yogis said, "Hey, we're all going to see this band. You got to see this band." So I went and I saw this band, and I befriended this group of musicians, this band. I got to know them. And finally, after a long period of time, I said, "Hey, would you guys listen to my music?" And they listened to it and they're like, "It's not bad. It's okay." I said, "Have you ever been in the
So
recording
encouraging.
studio?" Yeah, have you ever been? Exactly. Have you ever been in the
I
recording
can't wait to
studio?
play for you again.
Yeah, exactly. And they said, "Yeah, we've played in the record. We've been in the recording studio." So I brought them into the recording studio, and
And
I guess I
we're
would
gonna leave people hanging from that one.
Yeah.
What happened next? Find out right here on the Heart of Innovation on KDOW. Don't go away.
Your type of condition is called critical limb ischemia. It's the most advanced form of P.A.D. or peripheral arterial disease.
Every 4 minutes, there is an amputation in this country due to P.A.D. and diabetes. We also know that 85% of these amputations are preventable with early intervention.
It's a flip of the coin. Patient prognosis is tied to whether or not they are referred to a true expert in the management of peripheral arterial disease.
Do you know if your physician is an experienced CLI operator?
When you're in the hospital dealing with doctors and stuff, you figure they know what they're talking about.
The skill level varies doctor from doctor and hospital to hospital.
Patients with limb threat are in constant fear. The depression that someone experiences after they lose a limb is equivalent to those of losing their spouse of 40 years.
I was stuck in a wheelchair close to 2 years and my husband had to quit work. I didn't know what to do at this point because we had nothing but infections and hospital stays and infections and hospital stays.
And they took one toe, another toe, and then it was another toe, and then half his foot before he was even diagnosed with P.A.D.
And all I heard was, "What are we doing here? Just cut it off." And I pulled the curtain back like, are you kidding me?
Do you really want to go through all that?
That's crazy. That's insane. The protocol is to send them to amputation. Always, always, always get multiple opinions.
We do have options. We need to listen more to our patients.
If you're going to chop off their leg anyway, why not just let someone else try?
This is the progression. First comes the wounds, and then comes an amputation. And I wasn't going to accept that.
So that's what it's like to try to save a leg.
Welcome back, everybody. We are back and better than ever. Joined today by Dr. Rob McLafferty, vascular surgeon and songwriter extraordinaire. So before we went on to break, Rob, you were kind of telling us how you had teamed up with some local musicians, not physicians, in Portland, and you wanted to get them into the studio so they could record some of your songs. Is that correct?
That's correct. That's correct. Yeah, I basically played the role of executive producer. So that means I paid for everything, and I basically.
Let me ask you that, because I have no idea that term. So executive producer, we're going off topic here, but what the heck?
Sure.
So executive producer, like.
Yeah.
Can you explain a little bit of that?
Sure. So there's in the recording studio, there's typically two key individuals besides the songwriter piece and the artist piece. It's the producer and the recording engineer. Sometimes they're one and the same, but a lot of times they're not. So a producer is really like analogous to the director of a movie. So the producer is really also has a vision for the music, coordinates all the musicians, directs the musicians in the studio on things that they need to do, whether it's the vocalists, whether it's my last album, I had 15 musicians. This album we're coming out with in the spring, which we're almost done with, has over 25 musicians. 25.
So you're like the conductor, the conductor.
Yeah,
but you also
they're kind of like the conductor. Yeah.
Okay.
So, and then I'm working mostly out of a studio, Fremont Recording, on this fourth album. But just briefly going back to how this all started, I didn't know I wanted to be a songwriter. I didn't know I wanted to even go into music. I just had these songs I was writing, and I was like, hey, let's see if I can record these and just make an album. Really just out of my own interest. And you get into the studio and you have all these talented people coming in, and you watch this song that you wrote in your living room blossom into this amazing piece of art. And I'm biased, but there's no feeling like it. It is absolutely the most fun I have ever had. And I was like, wow, I really can see why musicians just love being musicians. And so that led, and we really didn't know what we were doing on the first album. If you listen to it, there's some good songs. It's called Crossing Lines. It's the first album. It's like 9 songs. But the second album we did, I think the musicians really hit it out of the park. Come On and Give Me Some More. And that came out in 2021. And I still didn't really know that I wanted to be a professional songwriter. It wasn't until I went to Berklee that I really figured that out. They really helped me figure out what I want to be when I grow up.
That's awesome.
In music.
That is awesome.
Yeah. And so, yeah.
So you wrote the lyrics and the music?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So in music, what a lot of people don't realize is there's two big factions of music. There's the artist performing side, and then there's the publishing side. And the publishing side is a really strong piece of, it's like the writer side of all TV and movies. I mean, you can't have movies and TV without writers.
Yeah.
It's the same thing in music. It's the same thing in music. You have Sony Publishing, Cobalt Publishing, Columbia Publishing. You have all these boutique publishing companies. They bring songwriters together, they write songs, and these songs get pitched to major artists. And then it creates this kind of domino effect of win-wins for everybody in music.
Okay.
But breaking through those circles is difficult. They call it the climb.
But you know, being a vascular, you're not afraid of those big obstacles. You're not afraid of a challenge.
No.
It's interesting because just this morning, a friend of mine sent me this meme from Instagram, and I think it's very timely. And it says, musicians aren't just creative, their brains feel joy more intensely than anyone else. And here's why. And one of the things it says is brain scans show musicians' dopamine doesn't just spike at the climax of a song, it rises seconds before the moment hits. But this one I thought was even more interesting, that musicians develop a significantly stronger connection between hemispheres, which means their emotional and analytical centers fire simultaneously instead of separately. That's why a single chord progression can trigger memory, narrative, imagery, and physical warmth all at the same time. So it begs the question, how has your strength in music helped in your practice as well?
Oh, that's such a great question. It has helped. It has completely reinvigorated my love for medicine. I have been in practice for 28 years. I'm still working 3 days a week. I'm still operating. I still have a very busy general vascular practice. And having this is more than a hobby. And I would say to anybody out there listening, it's great to have hobbies, but if you take it a little further than a hobby, your brain gets wired just like it gets wired for medicine. It gets wired. So by having my brain totally wired into music, it's just made me enjoy my job in medicine so much more. I'm more relaxed, I'm more engaged, and I talk about music with my patients quite a bit too.
Yes, I want to hear a great story about how your music has helped to strengthen a relationship with one of your patients. So stay with us right here on the Heart of Innovation on KDOW. Don't go away.
There was one patient, I actually give credit to his wife more than him. So he, which also not unusual. We hear patients had bilateral saphenous ablation. They had pain with walking or heaviness. They had their saphenous vein ablated, and they're like, my symptoms haven't changed. And then sure enough, oh, you don't have pedal pulses. Let's do ultrasound. And that particular patient, had bilateral SFA occlusion. So both were out. And they actually consulted with the surgeon, and they wanted to do a bypass using arm vein. And finally, the wife was like, you know what? Let's get second opinion or something. And then she found me, and they came to the office. And I was like, let's, we can do the surgery, but there's something called walk-in program. And the patient was like, I'll do it. I don't want any incisions. I don't want any, if you tell me that helps. And I think it does help, especially in non-smokers. I do believe walk-in program in the right claudicants, it does help because, with smoking, it doesn't let those geniculars or collateral pathways to develop robustly as in patient non-smokers. And yeah, this patient is like walking, doing everything he can to follow, appointments, follow up. He still comes see me for a routine evaluation to make sure the P.A.D is not getting worse, obviously. But yeah, he tried everything to avoid the knife and surgery, but I told him he has to give credit to his wife.
Welcome back, everybody. Just look out my window, and it is not lost on me that we're coming up on Christmas. I've got a snow-covered driveway that I have to go plow here pretty soon, and Kimberly's out west, and Rob's in Key West. I'm in the wrong place, but nonetheless, thanks for joining us. Rob, I mean, during the break, we were having a great conversation, and I know we want to get into how you can use music to connect with your patients, but I think Kym and I are both interested in the whole, you're the songwriter, right? So you're writing lyrics, doing the music, and
Mhm.
then now all of a sudden you've got AI kind of coming into this, and you
Yeah.
guys just told me that there's a number, whatever, there's a song that's all AI generated. Like, how do you feel about that? How do people who
Yeah.
want to be organic and poets feel about AI?
I would say that most songwriters are not happy, I guess is the right word for about AI generated music because this is kind of replacing what they're doing. And any of you can download the app Suno, Suno, and you can literally put into the app, write me a song about my daughter and how much I love her and or something, and it will spit out a song in about 30 seconds. You tell it the genre and it's done. It's absolutely done. You give it details in your life, it will write it. And when you listen to those generated songs, which I've listened to many of them because I have a friend who uses Suno, they all have kind of the same formula. Whereas I do believe that hopefully as songwriters will remain viable in our craft because there is a lot of techniques that we're using to kind of keep listeners engaged, but I don't use AI. I'm a little afraid. The only thing I'll use once in a while is something called Rhyme Zone if I have to come up with a rhyme.
That's actually with my poetry. I do the same thing. As I'm like, I
Yeah.
need a word that rhymes with this so that it makes my
Yeah.
poem come
Yeah,
together
yeah,
a little bit
yeah.
better.
That's the only thing I use
I'm
is
not
Rhyme
the only
Zone.
one.
That's awesome. But Rob, so you're getting your master's at Berklee, right? So
Yes.
they teach you.
It's
You said
Berklee with an EE,
EE.
not
So
Berkeley with an
Yes.
EY.
gotcha.
Just
But they're kind of helping you work through the process, and it's almost
Yes.
that you were describing it kind of algorithmic. So I guess that's why AI seems to work, right?
Yeah, this class I'm in right now called Songwriting Unmasked: Tools and Techniques. I'm on my last week this week. We're learning, we're studying hit songs, and then we have a week of certain techniques, and then we have to write a song. I've written a song every week for the last 12 weeks,
oh my
and I have to
goodness.
use techniques that we're learning that week. So something called anaphora. Anaphora is where you use the same first word or phrase at the beginning of every sentence in a song, like every breath you take, every step you make,
I'll be watching you.
by the Police. That's anaphora. Or you can use something called epistrophe, where you always use lines that end with the same thing, the same refrain line that end at the very end of a verse or over and over again. And then there is epinepsilus. That's where you use the same thing in the beginning and the end. The most famous song ever written by the Beatles uses epilepsis. That's what it is. Epilepsis sounds like a disease. Epilepsis.
Yes.
I was going to say, being a doctor, you're probably used to all these long words.
So I had to write a
What
song.
is that? What is that song? The Beatles.
Yesterday.
Okay. Yeah.
Yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away. Now I am gonna.
Okay.
I believe in yesterday. Starts with yesterday, ends with yesterday. That is epilepsis. So you're learning all these things. Then you have to write songs in those. So that's what I'm learning in Berklee. We're learning things like parallelism and all kinds of different techniques of songwriting, which is just fascinating. Absolutely fascinating.
And so when it comes to your patients, has there been a moment where the relationship with a particular patient, just the dynamic completely shifted when they found out that you were a musician? You could either relate to them or you could help relax them a little bit further with your rhythm.
Yeah, I can think of a very kind woman, super nice, has claudication. I saw her actually a couple of weeks ago. She's a bass player in a band.
Wow.
And she, I did an iliac stent on her. And she, we talk music a lot when she comes in to see me. And I think when patients, self-disclosure in medicine is a very powerful thing with patients.
Yeah.
They see you as human. If you feel like you are connecting with them early on and they're in that listening mode, you really can connect even more by sharing something personal with them as a physician. And so I think self-disclosure, whether it be music or a personal experience you went through with your own family that affected you, really speaks to a patient, because patients often don't remember everything about the medical visit. They remember how they feel when they left the visit.
Well said. Coming up next, right here on the Heart of Innovation, we're going to have final thoughts and next steps in how you can follow Dr. Robert McLafferty's music career. So stay with us right here on the Heart of Innovation on KDOW. Don't go away.
Epilepsis.
Epilepsis.
Epilepsis. It's a hard thing to say.
Epilepsis. That's like erysipelas.
Erysipelas. Yeah. Little strep infection.
Yes. Little strep.
When your sugar runs high, it's more than a sign. Diabetes creeping in, it's a dangerous line. Pre-diabetes too, don't think it's too light. It can lead to PAD, so start the fight. Sugar's sweet, but the cost is real. High blood sugar makes your arteries feel clogged. Slow flow, it's a ticking time bomb. Catch it early, stay strong, and keep your legs on. Sugar's not so sweet when your leg is in pain. Not controlling sugar is where peripheral artery disease sets in. Got sugar? Get checked. Don't wait too late. Save your legs, save your life. Take control of your fate. Leg pain, cold feet, neuropathy too. These are signs diabetes caught you. High sugar's the link where circulation and pain left untreated. Your leg might end inflamed.
We're back. Thanks for joining us. We have about 3 minutes, 50 seconds or so, probably about the time of one of your songs, Rob, before the show's over. So, you mentioned like this was a hobby, but now it's more than that, and how your brain has kind of changed and how you're like ultra focused in this. So ultimately, you want to become a professional songwriter. How do you envision doing that, and what do you see yourself doing in 5 years?
In 5 years, I'd love to be working with other songwriters, doing co-writes, preferably on a virtual basis, but maybe flying into they have these things called writing camps. So you get invited to a writing camp, you'll fly into a city, you'll go somewhere to someone's home or to a studio, you'll spend a week, you write 2 or 3 songs a day. And then all those songs will be under the umbrella of a publishing company. Those songs then begin to get pitched to major artists. So that's what I'd love to do. I also have a vision of forming my own publishing company, which I've done at least on paper. I have an LLC called Clear Sky Songs, and being in Berklee has really allowed me to really vastly expand my network with musicians. And I've come across several very good songwriters. So I also could just bring songwriters together myself and begin to create a library of songs to pitch.
Do you ever see yourself completely leaving practice of vascular surgery, or will you always maintain a current license?
I will always, until I'm too old to actually work, I will continue to work in medicine, sure. I think the beauty of medicine is, I'll probably step out of the operating room maybe in the next 3 to 5 years. But even after that, I'm the medical director for a wound care center at Oregon Health and Science University. I can do wound care, 1 or 2 days a week. I mean, surgeons, and actually many other physicians too, but surgeons, we can do urgent care clinics. We can, vein clinics is an outpatient, that's another thing to do. So I'll probably, even later in life, 1 day a week, I still enjoy medicine. I think it's a great field to go into. My son is doing his residency in vascular surgery. My daughter's a dentist. And I still think it's a great field to go into.
So how can we see and listen to you and your music?
Well, I'm on all streaming platforms under Rob McLafferty, and I have 3 albums out. And then the 4th album, which will be called My Astoria, has 11 new songs. It will be coming out in the spring of this year. We're about 90% done with it. And I'm on Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube.
You have any holiday songs? Christmas songs?
I actually wrote a Thanksgiving song several weeks ago.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
Thanks
Thanks
for
so
joining
much.
us.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy
Merry
holidays.
Christmas. Happy holidays.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Thank
Rob.
you. Thank you. Well, this is a bluegrass song I wrote called With You from my 2nd album. It's 5 a.m. and I start to see a little light shimmering through. Sheets all twisted around our legs. I can still feel you. Eyes are closed, breathing deep, just a hint of a little grin. What dreams are flowing through your head? Where you going? Where you been? It's just another morning with regular things to do. I won't take for granted my lucky life with you. With you.